Danielle Salzman, Solzy at the movies. It's so nice to meet you. How are you doing today?
Hey, I'm great. Lovely to meet you too, Danielle.
So, what was the genesis behind making The Deepest Breath?
So I read about Stephen and Alessia in the Irish Times, and I didn't know what freediving was, so I had to Google what is freediving, and I came across these incredible images of divers, human beings behaving more like seals and dolphins than people under the water. And it was shot in a really different way. I didn't realize at the time that it was shot by people who were freediving also. So they had this like fluidity to their movement. And it was like kind of nothing I'd ever seen before. So I was visually initially very intrigued, but it was really when I learned about Stephen Alessia's story and the whole world that they inhabited that I really fell in love with this incredibly emotional and adventurous tale.
Pandemic aside, what was the most challenging aspect in making the film?
What aside?
Pandemic aside, what was the most challenging aspect in making the film?
The most challenging. Well, I suppose the fact that we had an incredible wealth of archive that was provided to us from people all around the world. Very generously went and found old footage in the back of wardrobes on hard drives. But we there was little gaps that we wanted to fill in for clarity, and those gaps were always under the water. So we did a lot of underwater filmmaking, both in Mexico, in both in the sea and in cenotes, in the Blue Hole in Dahab, and in the Bahamas. So it new for me working with freediving cinematographers, and it was like having at times it was like having a fleet of dolphins on our crew. It was quite magical. So it was both a challenge because I'd never done anything like that before, but it was also a really incredible experience.
Yeah. And what challenges did the pandemic add in making the doc?
How long have you got? Well, I suppose there was 16 people that we wanted to interview for the film, and they were based out of 10 different countries. So that, even without the pandemic, is a challenge. But with the pandemic, with things like quarantine that had to happen afterwards, we really had to. Our co-producer Robert Ford had to do some like extreme Excel work trying to figure out who would be in what country when and how we could consolidate the shoots so that maybe if three people were in one country at the same time and there was a competition on in 6 months' time, seven people are going to be there, and we do the interviews like that. So it added a lot of time that we couldn't just jump out and go shooting. But that time actually gave us some really incredible development and research time that was invaluable.
And how long was the initial cut?
The initial cut?
Yeah.
Oh dear. Oh, I don't know. But I'll tell you, I wrote a number of drafts of the script, and the first draft was 242 pages. The original cut definitely wasn't 242 minutes, but it was oh, I've no idea. I can't even remember. There's been so many versions, so many cuts that the first one, yeah, afraid I can't remember.
And what do you hope people take away from watching the film?
Well, I hope people kind of take away the fact that it is possible, it is humanly possible to kind of like be under the water and not have the urge to breathe. And that, yeah, freediving is something that is accessible to us as humans. But also with Stephen and Alessia's story, they both kind of had this beautiful curiosity for life. And a real respect for the world around them. And I hope that the audience, can see that this is two people who followed their dreams from quite a young age, and yeah, I suppose you never know where your dreams might take you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Danielle. Lovely to talk to you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.